Alright guys, and welcome to a new series on this channel. It's basically where I find 5 football debate questions that have been going around on Twitter over the past week or so, and I answer them. So the first one, is Mourinho the best manager of the last decade, so 2010 to 2020? I mean, there's definitely a side to that. I think, like you can definitely make reasons for him being the best manager of the decade. Winning the Champions League with Inter Milan, um, you've you've got the Europa League win with Man United. You got the Premier League win with Chelsea. So what that shows is he is probably the only manager to have success with 3 different clubs. Well, 4 if you include Real Madrid, but then again, so let's say 3 different clubs he had success at in the last decade. But I would argue that, well, there's definitely also, you've got Pep Guardiola. Now, for me, Pep Guardiola has just like he's done it more so at, like, he's came into clubs and he's just kept it going, sort of like with Barcelona. He's got like some of the greatest talents in the world. He's got Messi, Iniesta, Xavi, Ronaldinho, Eto'o. No, Ronaldinho had left by then, actually. Eto'o, Thierry Henry. Like, he's got all these great players. Carles Puyol. So for me, it's not really that hard, really, is it, for him? Bayern Munich, he came into the team when, and they gave him Lewandowski on a free transfer. Like, he had already had Ian Robin and Ribery, like all these quality players. And Bayern Munich, his time at Bayern Munich was widely considered as a failure, purely because there was no success in the Champions League. Although we did have some success in the Bundesliga, which fair play to him for that. Manchester City, he won 2 titles, but still no European success. And then my final argument would be Jurgen Klopp, and this is the person who I would think would be the greatest manager of the last decade. And that's because, to take a Liverpool team that were struggling for a Europa League spot when he took over them, to get to a Europa League final and lose the final, to lose a Champions League final, and then still go on to the next season to be able to motivate your players to win the Champions League a year after they failed to. And I'll be honest, as a Liverpool fan, when we lost to Real Madrid in 2018, I didn't think, I thought that was our chance gone. I didn't think we'd ever get that far, because to be fair, Liverpool that year in 2018, we had a fairly easy run to the Champions League final. We still had to play Man City, and that was a tough time. We played incredibly, but Roma, Porto, they're good sides, but they're not Barcelona, are they? Which we did beat the next season. And he also did it at Borussia Dortmund. He won 2 Bundesligas with them, got Borussia Dortmund to the Champions League final. And the key is here, he picked up all these relatively unknown talents and made a team out of them. Like Marco Reus, Robert Lewandowski, he was playing for a Polish team back then. Who else? He signed Jakub Blaszczykowski and made him into a very good player, but sadly injuries sort of hampered his career. But yeah, so to sum up that one, for me, Jurgen Klopp would be the best manager of the last decade. Okay, so the next question, sort of question, it is rank Nemanja Vidic, Sergio Ramos, John Terry, and Virgil van Dijk in their prime. So this isn't their career, this is them when they're at the top of their game. Now, for me, the fact that it says in their prime makes a huge difference, because instantly I'm thinking Virgil van Dijk, his career, he's had success winning the Champions League and the Premier League, you know. But when you compare it to Sergio Ramos, who's won, I don't know how many Champions Leagues, is it 4? Which is tremendous. And John Terry and Nemanja Vidic have won probably 8 Premier League titles between them, I'd imagine. Vidic would have won 5, and John Terry, I think, would have won 4 or 5. So yeah, that's incredible. But in their prime, I would say Van Dijk at the top, John Terry second, Nemanja Vidic third, and Sergio Ramos fourth. But it's kind of weird though, because if the question was rank them overall, it would be probably Ramos, Terry, Vidic, Van Dijk. Okay, so the next question is Eden Hazard a Premier League legend? Yes. I mean, come on, he was Chelsea's best player under Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte, and he's won 2 Premier Leagues, and in my opinion was the best player in that sort of Chelsea team that spanned about 3 or 4 years. You know, the one that had Diego Costa, Cesc Fabregas in it, Willian, who else? Gary Cahill, Cesar Azpilicueta, Nemanja Matic. Yeah, so 100% he is a Premier League legend. Question number 4. Is Danilo underrated? I'm going to assume this is the Juventus fullback Danilo, who was at Man City and Real Madrid. And I'll be honest, I think he's rated correctly. I don't think he's one of the best fullbacks in the world. From what I've seen of him, bang average really. He's not bad by any means, but under Manchester City, they signed him for 25 million, and he did a job filling in, fair enough, but he wasn't great, was he? I remember in 2015 when Real Madrid first signed him, he was supposed to be the best right back in world football, and he couldn't even get in the team ahead of Danny Carvajal. And to be fair, Carvajal's a good player, but again, I wouldn't say he is the best right back in the world. And the final question, rank Paul Scholes, Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard. Okay, right, before I say anything about this, I completely understand that I'm not fully equipped to answer this question, because I only started watching football in 2009, because, I mean, I wasn't watching football when I was 4, was I? I'd been 6 in 2009. So for me, a lot of what I'd base this on is who changes a game. Steven Gerrard, for me, changes a game. Istanbul. So for me, Gerrard has got to be first. And then second and third, between Scholes and Lampard, I would go Scholes second, because I feel for Lampard, he was a little bit, not only this, but his game was made on running, making the late run onto the edge of the box for the ball to be passed back to him and him to absolutely hammer it into the net. But I didn't feel there was as much to his game as Steven Gerrard and Paul Scholes. Either way, they were all 3 brilliant Premier League, midfielders in world football, great in world football legends, all 3 of them. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.